How to get a good, healthy gut flora. Well, we're going to talk about foods and recipes today, and etc. We have to understand about limiting the antibiotics and all the other things. We have to fully understand what not to do. Let's briefly review that now before we go further. Hippocrates was right. Food should be our medicine. It's very important what we put into our mouth because we are what we eat. And we have to understand that all disease begins in the gut. All mental disease, all disease. Chronic disease, 95% is caused by food choice, toxic ingredients, nutritional deficiencies. And there's a host of things that we've been talking about, what you must not eat, that we've discussed in many ways, because it feeds the bad bacteria that take over your brain, creating disease, addiction. You must stop eating the sugar. You must stop boiling foods in oil. You got to stop the French fries, the trans fats, the processed foods, the antibiotics. You have to stop all these things. It's very important. All of these different compounds, these processed foods, are creating havoc and disease and mental disease and a host of other problems. And as we strip away the plant fiber from the fruits, we create a problem because we need this fiber. And nothing feeds the evil bacteria more than these synthetic patented sweeteners. So we have to understand that we have to avoid these different foods. They're poison to us. We have to learn about the 6 unhealthy whites: white sugar, white flour, white pork, white potato, milk, and white rice. We should be eating a little bit less of these type foods, if none at all. Corn, potato, and sugar have been found to be high-carb, low-nutrient foods that create and foster disease. So we have to watch about this. And the high-fructose corn syrup is really bad stuff and should be avoided at all costs. And whatever you eat and drink, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. Now we got to learn about what to eat. Little short list here for you. We have to understand the basic ideas of how to change our gut flora and just what to do to be able to keep that. And it's very important that we understand about the plant-based foods and the fiber to get rid of the inflammatory fats. And we have to be able to do all these things, and it's very important. In today's little course here, we're going to be talking about recipes. But the first lesson we must learn is the dangers of the white sugar. We have to learn about the white sugar and avoiding all of this. It's a very simple solution now. We simply take applesauce in equal quantities and substitute for all that white sugar in every recipe. 1 cup of sugar, we now use the unsweetened applesauce, unsweetened, fine-grained applesauce. We got to get rid of the potatoes. We got to go to sweet potatoes. Very important, get rid of the white potatoes, go to sweet potatoes, and learn how to fill those sweet potatoes with all different types of interesting flavors and spice. We have to get to the fermented foods. We have to understand that these are good for us. We have to be able to work those into our diet. We also have to learn how to digest, chew, and all the digestion processes. We have to learn about using the get well to kill the bad bacteria. And we start off our entire process with chewing the food, recognizing the mouth is God's juicer. So we chew our food. And I learned about how to do all these things many years ago and how to help mental patients. And now I can help you. And with the Microbiome Reboot, we can help. Now let's learn more about the microbiome.
95% of the serotonin comes from your gut. That's that happy molecule. Your gut biome changes every 20 minutes. That's why it's absolutely crucial to give it the food that it needs that loves your body back. See, most of us feed our microbiome in the gut nasty food that shapeshifts your gut biome and then requires you to crave that nasty, unhealthy food that you're constantly sabotaging your diet with. You have these erratic cravings, these up and down moods, and everything is in the gut. So here's some quick facts about microbiome. You have 3 pounds of bacteria in your body. Bacteria outnumbers your cells 9 to 1. Our good bacteria helps us utilize all the nutrients from the food that we eat. Our good bacteria has influence on our immunity, our mood, our hormones, our metabolism, and a lot of other things in our body. So if you're addicted to chocolate, cookies, bread, ice cream, things that you know you probably shouldn't be eating all the time, guess what? It's not your fault. It's actually not you. It's that bad bacteria that's teamed up against you. They become bullies on the inside, and they're actually forcing your cravings. They're forcing you to eat that stuff. So as soon as we feed the allies, that good bacteria in your body, the cravings will slowly start to drift away. So how do we start changing it? Well, we got to start changing what we're putting in. And Dr. Kelman states it so gracefully in his book, The Microbiome Diet. Number one, you got to eat lots of fresh fruits and veggies. Number two is to eat a lot of prebiotics. As you probably already know, like most people do, prebiotics are the food that feeds your probiotics. And what are they? Well, number one, Jerusalem artichokes, asparagus, carrots, garlic, jicama, leeks, onions, radishes, tomatoes, and other soluble fibers. Fermented foods are absolutely imperative as well because they're loaded with probiotics. We got kimchi, sauerkraut, and the different things that I personally absolutely love, and I know you probably do as well. And lastly, he talks about probiotics. Probiotics are one of the most important things that you can take on a daily basis to start feeding your good gut bacteria. So we've spent a lot of time recently coming up with the 10 best bacterial strains on the planet so that it can really start to feed your good friends in your body. And you can really start to absorb the nutrients that maybe you're not absorbing now. You see, the average person eats 4,000 calories a day in America, but they're still hungry. They're still starving. And the reason they're starving is because they're not getting the enzymes, the nutrients, the aminos, the different things that are in the food that we eat. So they continue to eat and eat, they continue to gain the weight, but they feel like they're hungry all the time. I want you to feel satisfied. I don't want your brain to be turned on thinking about what's coming for lunch just after you finish dinner. Because what does that do? It doesn't allow you to be present. And I know if you're watching this, maybe you have kids, maybe you have a friend that you see once in a while, or maybe a significant other, and the best moments that you've had together is when you're not on your cell phone checking it. You're not thinking about what you have to do that weekend. You're right there in the moment. Awareness is at an all-time high. You're totally resonant with that person in front of you and you're communicating on an authentic level. I want that for you, and something tells me if you're watching this video, you want that for yourself. So let's make that happen. Probiotics is the last thing on the list.
Hands down, kimchi is one of my very favorite OG fermented foods. Fermentation gang. It's typically made with various veggies like napa cabbage, daikon radish, green onion, and in my case, carrots. Its flavor is totally one of a kind, yet extremely versatile. You know, hence the whole kimchi fries and kimchi omelet and kimchi fried rice. There's all sorts of ways that this thing can be used. If you've had kimchi before and you like kimchi, then you need to know that it's incredibly simple to make and so much better when you do it at home, like many things. So without further ado, let's do this.
Now, this recipe is pretty simple, so this should go by pretty quickly. You're gonna start with one large napa cabbage head, which is about 2 pounds and 2 ounces, or 980 grams. And you're gonna slice that in half lengthwise. Then you're gonna cut each of those halves in half, sort of getting quarters, and then you're gonna cut each of those quarters into 1-inch wide strips. Now you're gonna take all that cabbage and place it into a large bowl and season it heavily with kosher salt. And when I say heavily, I mean I want you to over season that bad boy. It is okay, you're gonna rinse off the water and you're gonna wring out that saltiness, but you need it in order to pull out the excess water so that it ferments properly. Now you're just gonna squeeze and toss the cabbage in the salt. Make sure that you're squeezing the cabbage real hard. It's okay, you wanna bruise it up. And you're gonna let it sit for at least 30 minutes, but ideally about an hour and a half. While it's sitting, you'll notice that it releases a ton of water, which is a good thing. Now, while the cabbage is sitting, we're gonna cut the rest of our vegetables. So you're gonna start with one bunch of green onion, cut the root bottoms off, and then cut the green onion into 1/2-inch segments. Then you're gonna roughly julienne your carrots. Now, if you don't know how to do that, I'll give you a brief little tutorial. All you gotta do is cut the carrot into the desired length of the segment. So I chose about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And you're gonna cut that segment into little planks, and those planks are going to be probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. Once you have your planks, you're then going to cut the planks lengthwise with the same width so that you sort of end up with a long, skinny rectangle. Now, they don't really have to be perfect. You can see that mine are not. In my opinion, it's kimchi. You know, it's supposed to be like a rough chop. Just throw it together. Don't worry about it too much. And also you can always just buy a mandolin that has a julienne attachment if you don't want to do this, which I will put a link below in the description. Oh, and by the way, this portion is going to be 2 carrots worth of julienne carrot, just heads up. Then you're going to peel a medium-sized daikon. You're going to cut that into sort of the same thing as the carrots, but much thicker, into sort of like baton-sized pieces. Now you can also do a julienne with this as well. I prefer a little variance in texture, so that's up to you. Now we're gonna make our paste. You're gonna start by slicing a 2-inch segment or 82 grams of peeled ginger. Add that to a food processor along with 1 large Asian pear peeled and cubed, which will be about 250 grams, 6 cloves or 20 grams of peeled garlic, and a 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of fish sauce. My personal favorite brand would be Red Boat. I'll put a link in the description for the one that I use. And then you're gonna blend that until it's as smooth as you can get it. It'll hit a certain point where it won't really get much more smooth, and that's okay. Transfer that paste to a medium-sized bowl and mix that paste together with a 1/4 cup or 52 grams of Korean red pepper flake. You can use a little more if you like. I actually ended up using about a 1/3 cup and 65 grams, but my red pepper flakes weren't too spicy, so just be careful because it will get super spicy. Once the cabbage is sat in the salt, you're gonna drain it through a colander and then rinse it with water while squeezing at the same time. Rinse, toss, and squeeze until you've washed off the majority of the salt that's on the cabbage. It's okay if it's still a little bit salted, but you don't want it to be overwhelmingly salty. If your batch ends up too salty, it is because you did not wash the cabbage enough, so beware of that. Drain the water that you rinsed the cabbage with, and then add all the vegetables that you cut to the cabbage in a large bowl. From there, you're gonna add all of the paste that you just made to the vegetables, and then you're gonna toss to thoroughly and evenly coat with the chili paste. Now you can use your hands with this. I used my bare hands. Not advisable, very spicy. You'll get a burny sensation in your hands, and if you have a problem with that, maybe wear gloves or just use a rubber or wooden utensil. Once the mixture is thoroughly and evenly coated, you're gonna pack that into a 1/2-gallon glass jar, or some sort of container that is large enough to fit them. Just make sure that it's glass. The problem with metal is that it reacts with the acidity that this is going to develop later on. That's no good, so you want something that's non-reactive. Then using a spoon or a wooden muddler, you're going to press down all that vegetable so it's as packed together as possible. You don't want any air bubbles in there, and if there's any juice in there, to get it to cover the vegetables. And then you're going to loosely cap it off. Make sure that you don't tighten it all the way down because it's going to release some gas. We don't want to turn this into a bomb. And you're gonna let it ferment for 4 to 7 days. Now, I want you to taste it at day 4 and see if you want it to go longer. The longer it goes, the more acidic and the more sort of fermenty it's gonna taste. So it just depends on how ripe you like it. The longer, the more ripe. I let mine go for 6 days. Now, you might notice along your little journey that there are little air bubbles becoming present, or it may start to bubble. That is totally normal. That is just the lactobacillus and various other good bacteria that are releasing carbon dioxide in there, and that's totally normal. Just keep pressing it down to keep that juice compact. Once your kimchi has reached the desired flavor point, you can then tighten the cap all the way and store it in the refrigerator. And at this point, it's good and ready to eat. It'll stay good in the fridge for a long time. I've had stuff stay in there for like 3 months. I mean, you're gonna eat it all before it goes bad.
Now let me show you 4 recipes that we've prepared in the Fit Life Kitchen with Cherie and David, and we're gonna show you how to make them step by step so that you can start fixing that good gut bacteria. Let's do this. All right, so let's try our blueberry and kale smoothie. So here's the recipe breakdown. 1/2 cup of chopped up kale. You can remove the ribs if you want. The ribs will make it a little bit bitter. I usually do. 1/2 cup of frozen unsweetened organic blueberries. 1/4 cup of avocado. 1 teaspoon of almond butter. 3/4 cups of apple cider or kefir. I preferred to go with 1/2 cup of kefir today, but 3/4 is usually the recommended dose. 5 ice cubes, 2 tablespoons of plant-based protein. And this is the blueberry kale smoothie. All right, so here's the smoothie. Let's try it out. Why didn't I ever think to add kefir? That's so good. A blueberry loaded with good fat. I feel the energy in this too. Super good. Next up is our veggie loaded frittata. And here's the ingredients. 6 organic eggs, 2 tablespoons of cold water, 1 teaspoon of snipped tarragon, 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1 cup of sliced onions, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 small zucchini cut into 1-inch slices, 1/2 pound of spinach or Swiss chard, salt and pepper to taste as needed, and you can also add organic or goat's sheep milk cheese if you want to. let it sit for 5-10 minutes till it's firm. Eat it. Let's see what this frittata tastes like. Oh, it's cooked to perfection. Look at this thing. Looks absolutely amazing. You ever airplane yourself? Oh. Mmm. So good. Wow. Mm. Wash it down with this smoothie. Mmm. Wow. Citrus berry salad. So here's the recipe breakdown. Half a grapefruit, cut in half, the center, not the stem in the end. 1 orange, half a kiwi, a 1/4 cup of blueberries or raspberries, 1/8 cup of fresh mint leaves, 6 Brazil nuts. Now what you want to do is grab a section of the grapefruit, squeeze the residual juice, save it in a cup because you're going to use this for the salad dressing. You're going to do the same thing with the orange. Cut it in the center, not the stem though, with the section on it. Squeeze the shells and add the juice to the grapefruit juice. Orange and the grapefruit sections together is going to be your salad dressing. Cut the kiwi in half, peel it, slice it into 1/4 inch slices, and then add the grapefruit and the orange slices. We put it on a nice bed of spinach, baby spinach. You can add some microgreens to this if you want to. These are the greens that we had in the house. We're gonna add berries and fruit together in the mix. Absolutely amazing. And then we're gonna add the chopped mint leaves. The mint is gonna add another element of flavor to this. Put the juice over top, serve the nuts on the side, and lightly crush or sprinkle them you can. We just decided to put them on the side. All right, let's try it out. Mmm. Mmm. Wow, what is this? That is super good. I love the dressing. The orange, the grapefruit together. Mmm. All right, and here's the microbiome snack. This is real easy. 2 organic eggs, 4 asparagus spears, stems removed, 3 tomato slices, 3 radishes sliced in half. We hard-boiled the eggs, which took about 10 minutes. Place in a steamer basket with a pot for just enough water until it's overflowing in the basket. Place the asparagus in the steamer for about 5 to 7 minutes, and we assembled the eggs and other ingredients on a plate, and then we served it. Let's see what it tastes like. Mmm. Little tomato action. Mmm. There we go. It's a good snack. A little protein from the egg.
6 of the greatest probiotic foods you should be eating more of are: 1. Fermented cod liver oil. You're probably already familiar with the many health benefits of fish oil. However, fermented cod liver oil is a whole different experience. This is one of the oldest superfoods on the market. It dates back thousands of years and was used by many different cultures. Fermented cod liver oil is not only chock full of probiotics, it also supplies a massive amount of vitamin D, a nutrient which an alarming number of people are lacking due to our tendency to avoid sun exposure. 2. Buttermilk. Another lacto-fermented dairy product, buttermilk is incredibly healthy. Because the lactose protein in buttermilk has already been converted into lactic acid by our beneficial bacteria, this drink is safe for lactose-intolerant individuals. It is also low in fat and calories, but packed with vitamin B12, riboflavin, calcium, potassium, and protein. Due to its impressive nutritional roster, buttermilk is great for easing an acid stomach, improving digestion, and boosting energy levels. 3. Apple cider vinegar. Praise for apple cider vinegar is being sung with gusto all around the world and in every natural health nook and cranny on the internet. While the health benefits of this incredible superfood have become fairly common knowledge, what you may not know is that raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar is also a natural probiotic. Use raw apple cider vinegar to add flavor to salads and other veggies. Sprinkle it over snacks like popcorn, or add it to beverages like tomato juice and tea for a powerful full-body health boost. 4. Kimchi. Originating in Korea, the history of kimchi, a fermentation method involving the use of salt and other spices to preserve vegetables such as beans, radishes, and cabbage for consumption during the country's long, cold winters. Despite the countless variations on this traditional Korean staple, all forms of kimchi have one thing in common. They are incredibly healthy probiotic foods. Depending on the vegetables included in kimchi, cabbage is the most popular. Kimchi may also contain large amounts of protein, vitamins, and minerals, in addition to being naturally probiotic. 5. Sauerkraut. Another dish of fermented cabbage. Sauerkraut originated in Germany, then quickly spread throughout other parts of the world. Packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, in addition to its probiotic qualities, sauerkraut makes a delicious and healthy accompaniment to poultry dishes. Just be sure to choose a raw sauerkraut, as many commercially available products have been heated to extend their shelf life, a process which destroys most, if not all, of the healthy bacteria contained in the kraut. 6. Kombucha. Kombucha is an effervescent fermentation of black tea that is started by using a SCOBY, also known as a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. Kombucha has been around for over 2,000 years, originating around Japan. Many claims have been made about kombucha, but its primary health benefits include digestive support, increased energy, and liver detoxification. Other popular probiotic food options include yogurt, kefir, tempeh, miso, and unpasteurized cheese.
So we're gonna just make some sauerkraut today, really simple. And the exciting thing about this is that all you need here is cabbage, onion, dill, caraway, and salt. So first of all, you're going to core the cabbage. Always just take out the center there. Okay, we're just gonna try to shred this and keep it a fairly even texture.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna chop up some onion. Okay, the reason I use onion is because it has prebiotics in it. It has inulin. So it's gonna help this to ferment faster, but it also, a lot of times it guarantees that this is gonna work. All right, so now I'm just gonna chop up some dill. Dill just makes it taste delicious. So it's gonna add a lot of flavor to your sauerkraut. All right, so we have the vegetables chopped up in here, and we're gonna add some spices. You can use any spices. We're gonna use caraway because it is a really traditional sauerkraut spice. And then we're gonna add salt. Okay, now salt is important. You wanna make sure that you are using a non-iodized sea salt. Right? Iodine is a disinfectant. We don't want to use that in here. So I have Celtic sea salt here, but you can use like the Himalayan pink sea salt. You can use any of these. And we're going to add, for this, we're probably just going to add about a tablespoon or so. Generally, the rule is 3 to 4 tablespoons per gallon of sauerkraut. Okay, so that's a gallon with it all packed in there. We're doing about a quart today. So we're gonna fill it up into here. This is about a quart. So we wanna use, I'm saying like 1 tablespoon, 1.5 tablespoons. You want it to taste as salty as a Lay's potato chip. And so you just wanna mix it, and you're really just trying to get the salt to touch all the veggies here. And so that's gonna take the water out of the vegetables and into this solution. And I'll show you how this like creates the brine. I don't add water when I make sauerkraut. So it's gonna be a little bit more potent than your normal sauerkraut that's been watered down, essentially. It's gonna be sour and delicious.
So that's all the water you need because you're pulling it out of the cabbage.
Yeah, and this is why you wanna use fresh, organic produce, because it's filled with all of this water, and that's what we're trying to use to create the brine. All right, so let's see here. It's getting, I don't know if you can see it, it's glistening, right? Like the salt is already starting to get this. Okay, so when you're trying to make good sauerkraut, you want to make it taste good here, right now.
Pounding it in there, you're getting it kind of jammed in there as much as you can, right?
Well, I want to get all the air bubbles out.
I see.
So I really want to push this down here. I want to smash all of the cabbage in here as tightly as possible so that the air bubbles are gone. We're starting to see some of the water gurgle through here. You see that?
Yeah.
So that's gonna form our brine. So essentially, let me just kind of show you the stages now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna fill this up. You wanna leave at least 1 inch in the top, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And that's gonna just really keep it from overflowing. Because for the first week, it's gonna be incredibly active. So what's really interesting is we didn't add a starter, if you noticed. It's just the vegetables and the salt, and the bacteria that are living on this cabbage right now, and the bacteria probably on my hands, you know, as I smash this down in here, are the bacteria that are gonna inoculate and start growing now that we've created this anaerobic environment. So the way that I do it, I like these jars because they're really easy. You don't really want to clamp it all the way down. You just leave it like this, right? So the air can basically flow out. The carbon dioxide can flow out as it ferments, but you don't have a lot of the stuff from your kitchen and your house flying in, right? So that's how we want to leave it. This is one that has been going for a few days, right? So I want you to just notice the difference in these two.
This was this a few days ago.
Yep. And so one thing is that it's really, really juicy. I mean, so there's that anaerobic environment. This will bubble for the first week. And if you look, see how it's starting to get more translucent? Just notice that a lot of the white parts of the cabbage have changed. It's starting to break down a little bit. And that's what the bacteria do.
Just in a few days, huh?
Yeah, just in a few days.
Wow.
I usually let this go for probably 2 to 4 weeks. And
Open like this.
like this.
And then this starts to happen.
Yep.
And then you let it just keep hanging
going.
out. 2 to 4 weeks.
Yep. And then at 4 weeks is when I take it out, I taste it, I make sure it's good, and then I put it in the refrigerator, and at that point I will clamp this down. So this one has been going for about 1 week. And again, you can tell this cabbage, it's more translucent. Look, it's changed from the green, it's getting a little bit more yellow. And this one's sour, it's delicious. Many people are gonna wanna eat it now, and that's fine. You just clamp it down, put it in your fridge, it's good to go.
Okay, so look, you could eat this. You could eat anything down mine, right?
Right.
So at any point along the spectrum, it's all edible, but you want it to get to that magic moment.
This one's been going for 3 weeks. So this one's delicious, right? Again, totally different color, translucent. You can almost see there's no more white mottling like there is in the other one. And yeah, go for it. Right, and so what's changed is this has gotten more sour.
Yep.
And that sour flavor is the lactic acid. So as you ferment, you basically are letting these bacteria create lactic acid and carbon dioxide.
Interesting. So the food, it blocks out the foodborne pathogens, but then the good healthy bugs that made this party happen are still there, and then when we eat it, they come into us.
Right, so you're getting the benefit of both. You're getting this, this action where it prevents foodborne pathogens from growing, right? So inside your body, it's actually gonna help get rid of any bad organisms that you don't want living there. And you're bringing in the healthy bacteria.
And you usher in the good guys. Right on.
Yeah.
Adding a probiotic, because a lot of you have said to me, when do I take my probiotics? Do I take them before, during, or after breakfast? So it's a kind of bit of a confusion there. But I'll answer that confusion right now. The best time to take your probiotics is either 30 minutes before you eat or while you're eating. So in this case, in a morning smoothie, it makes it so easy. We're just going to do it while we eat or drink in this case, okay? So what I'm doing is, as usual, most of you know I love my greens, so we're putting in, look, that many power greens in my Vitamix, okay? This is the same as some of my other videos. I am going to put in, actually, which I don't always put in, I'm going to put in some walnuts into this one. Walnuts are really preventative against breast cancer. So I change up the nuts that I put in. Sometimes it's almonds, really great protein. Sometimes it's walnuts for their very specific health benefits. Sometimes it's Brazil nuts, which are really good for lowering cholesterol. So again, really think about changing up your smoothie additions. So you've got the base, all those greens. You've got your frozen fruits, which I'm putting in now, putting in some mango, loads of calcium in mango, putting in pineapple, loads of vitamin C in your pineapple. We've got a banana, which I like to add. Banana, we've got our magnesium and our potassium, but it also adds a nice sweetness to that smoothie. Then, no smoothie is ever complete in my book without flaxseed. That's your omega-3 fatty acids, really important. I like to put the whole seed in, not ground, because the whole seeds tend to be fresher when you buy them. You keep them in the fridge. And of course, they'll get pulverized in a smoothie, in a Vitamix. If you're just eating flaxseed, not pulverized in a Vitamix, then you would need it ground. Otherwise, it goes in one end and out the other without being fully digested. Hope all of that made sense because I'm talking very fast. I'm just eyeballing it because I make smoothies every day, but generally, let me tell you, my friends, this smoothie is for 4 smoothies, all right? And in there, I've got about 2 heaping tablespoons of that flaxseed. All the greens you see, about a cup of the frozen fruits. You could do berries, whatever you want. Now let's get to the probiotics. So I'm going to use this liquid probiotic, really delicious, from Good Belly, and I'm going to use, because I'm doing 4 smoothies in there, I'm going to use 4 of their super shots. Okay, so in each super shot of Good Belly, and this is their vanilla chamomile, it's absolutely delicious, and oat, I am getting 50 billion probiotics. And I've always said that you want a minimum of 20 billion. Oh, that sounds like so much, doesn't it? But this is 50 billion. So you're really, really getting a good probiotic shot. Now, of course, you could take these little shots just on their own as a little morning shot. They're delicious. Kids can enjoy them. Look, got a little smiley face on the top. But I don't want to have to fiddle around doing all sorts of separate things, which is why I like to pop them in my smoothie. And the other reason is it adds an element of creaminess and deliciousness to your morning smoothie. And by the way, with Good Belly, they have a challenge which you might want to check out. It's called the 12-Day Belly Reboot Challenge. The details are in the description to the video, and the really good thing is if you sign up for this challenge, you get coupons for lots of money saving, which we all love, of course, and you also, if your belly doesn't feel considerably better, which this is amazing after 12 days, you get your money back, all right? So, last thing that's going to go in is coconut water, and I sometimes just do water, so don't think you've got to spend all this money putting expensive coconut water in, because, or actually don't think you've got to do expensive nut milks. You don't have to do, I don't have to do nut milks in this because there's nuts in it, so by the time it's all pulverized up, you've got your nut milk anyway. But just saying, oh, where's my top? Excuse me, just staying out of shot for a second, into the draining board, top of the mix. This is going to be one of the most delicious smoothies I have ever tasted. I just can feel it in my bones. All right, there we go. Boom. And that, my friends, is a gorgeously green smoothie full of pretty much every nutrient that you need to feel good inside, particularly in your belly, for all of your biological systems. So you've got your brain nutrients, your heart nutrients, your skin nutrients, your hair nutrients. Really, you don't need to take bucket loads of pills and supplements when you can really, you know, fill your Vitamix with a pharmacy from your farmer's market and just a few little additions, and of course the Good Belly probiotic shots, which I am really excited about. So check.
Hi everyone, today I will be making vegetable pickles. It's colorful, crunchy, sweet and sour, a perfect vegetable side dish to serve together with other meat and fish dishes. It's also a very popular food in Vietnamese New Year. So let's begin. For the ingredients, you will need 2 carrots, 1 small head cauliflower, some chilies, Asian red shallots, which I have peeled here, a few garlic cloves, and cucumber. You can also use other kind of crunchy vegetables like celery, bell peppers, etc. Remove some bad parts of cauliflower and cut into small florets. I normally only cut the stem and then use the hand to separate them into florets. Peel and cut carrots into halves. Use a paring knife to make a V-shaped shallow incision around the carrots. Then cut into a 1/4 inch thick slices. Try to use small and young garlic when possible. If not, you have to remove the sprout completely, otherwise it's gonna turn green later. Slice into thin slices. For Asian shallots, you can keep them at a whole or cut into halves. Peel cucumber, but just partially because we want to keep some green color for our pickles. Remove the seeds. Also cut into 1/4 inch thickness. In a large bowl, mix all the vegetables together and sprinkle 1 tablespoon of salt. Give it a good toss and set aside for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you will see the salt pull out a lot of water out of the vegetables, which will make it more crunchy. Now rinse well and drain. If it's sunny where you live, you can sun dry the vegetables for about a day. That will help to make the vegetables even more crunchy, but there's no sun where I live these days, so I'm just gonna drain it. Then transfer the vegetables into a clean jar. Try to arrange the carrot flowers against the wall to make them more visible from outside. We want to arrange so that all the vegetables can be seen from outside, which will make a very colorful jar. Now let's make the brine. I'm using 1:2 ratio. That means 1 cup sugar, 2 cups vinegar and 2 cups water. You can use rice vinegar or white vinegar with 5% acidity. Stir well until the sugar is completely dissolved. Then pour into the jars. Make sure the vegetable is completely covered in the brine. Then just cover and leave it on the shelf for about 2 to 3 days. Then it's ready to eat. You can serve this as a vegetable side dish together with other meat dishes like Vietnamese ham chả lụa or caramelized pork thịt kho. Here I'm serving with some Chinese sausages, lạp xưởng. Just put the Chinese sausages into the microwave for about 1 to 2 minutes and then cut into diagonal slices. It's crunchy and delicious. Remind me a lot of Vietnamese New Year. You can subscribe to watch more videos about food for Vietnamese New Year Tết. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.